Hi, everyone. I'm Alex Trebek.
Oh, hi, Alex. I was just polishing my podium.
Power. Amazing. Awesome stuff. Awesome. That's a good philosophy to have. It's like an Oldsmobile sucking a lemon.
Oh, that's right.
I'm nervous. Phrase it in the form of a question, please.
Please welcome Mr. Alex Trebek. You've never looked lovely.
Let's get an opinion from the folks in the audience. What do you think? I bored Don King's hairdresser, and I dyed my hair from its normal gray.
You went into our disguise pile,
Thank you.
You see, at the top of the hour, Alex, we explained that they would see another side of you today. But
Yeah, well, they may see more sides than they want.
welcome back to Seattle.
Thank you.
Nice
Good to be here.
See you again. Take us back to the very beginning. Was there a time when it was really felt, pretty generally felt, that Jeopardy was just too difficult a game to be successful on television?
Well, when we went on the air in 1984, the word got back to us after just a couple of months that the show's too tough. We've got to make it easier. And I said, well, that's nice of you guys to tell us that now because we've already pre-taped 2 or 3 months in advance. So we're not going to do anything. And little by little, we found our audience, and we built on that to the point where for the past 10 years, we've been the #2 show in syndication after Wheel of Fortune. Mm-hmm. We're very similar in many regards because on Wheel of Fortune, just as on Jeopardy, the viewer gets involved, wants to play the game, wants to compete against the contestants.
But on Wheel of Fortune, I feel smart. On Jeopardy, I feel dumb.
It's just the flip side of the coin. On Wheel of Fortune, you invariably solve the puzzle ahead of the contestants, and you're jumping up and down and saying, gosh, it's beer barrel polka. It's not beer barrel polio, just say beer barrel polka. You're going to get it.
Right.
And on Jeopardy, you say, oh, darn it, geez, I didn't know that. Oh, he got that one. But the clues come so quickly that you don't have a chance to dwell on your lack of knowledge, if you will. You don't feel bad for very long because in 12 seconds, another clue is coming up and you may get that one, or it'll sound familiar enough to you that you'll say, yeah, I knew that. Mm-hmm.
Next week, some big names are going to be in the hot seat, some of the celebrities who you got to tape a recent show with, and let's look at the behind the scenes of that.
Okay.
Is Celebrity Jeopardy!
I'm just waiting for the swell of that Jeopardy theme song.
I'll take hospital etiquette for 500.
I'm not a smart person, but I play one on TV.
He carries $100 bills. This is my kind of contestant.
Don't get this. Quiz show for the night.
It's true, it's true. Read about it in the Inquirer.
And could I have a Mr. Coffee IV?
I hope the buzzer works.
My resume for 1,000?
At least my hair will look good.
You're going to remember to phrase it in the form of a question because you don't want the audience to hear me say, ooh, sorry. Ooh, sorry.
You do that so nicely.
All right.
These guys knows nothing. They simply read my mind and then give the answer. It's ridiculous.
The big board, it's the buzzer in your hand, it's nerve-wracking.
I'm a little frazzled, but I guess I'll be okay.
Maybe we should just all be friends and
Okay,
cooperate.
who wants to buzz on this one?
Yeah, right.
We'll play for one.
Collectively? Who wants to buzz on this?
All right. Anyway, that's Lynn, would you like to buzz on this one?
Yeah, I'd like to buzz.
Be my guest.
Good night.
What a fool I am.
Jeff Foxworthy looks like he was a hoot to have on the show. Would you say he was one of the most fun contestants out of the
Jeff
celebrities?
Foxworthy was a lot of fun. The comics who appear on our program are always a joy to be with. And Jeff's routine about rednecks is just fantastic. And when I heard him some months ago, I said, we've got to get him on the program. And by golly, he accepted. And he was a treat on the program.
So was he teaching you how to become a redneck?
Yeah, he came up with some good lines. Well, one of the lines that I love about him is you're a redneck if you refer to the 5th grade as my senior year. So
I like it.
he's just, and as you saw in that video clip, we have some wonderful people from all walks of life. We've got Miss America, we've got LeVar Burton, whom I competed with in an athletic kind of competition many, many years ago. It was called Us, U.S. Against the World, and LeVar and I were on the foreign team because we were both foreign.
So what did you have to do?
Well, we competed much as they used to have on ABC, those celebrity contests. We're throwing the football, rowing boats, doing all kinds of crazy things. Bill Shatner, a fellow Canadian, was the captain of our team. Bobby Conrad and Bill Devane were the anchors on the American team, and you know both those guys are very competitive. I won the pie-eating contest, however.
Something to be proud of.
Something to be proud of, and at that time I had a full beard, so you can imagine what it must have been like with these cherry pies, and you couldn't use your hands, so you had your hands tied behind your back, and you had to go down and...
Did you keep the video of that, I hope?
No, well, there may be one at home in a closet, hiding, and it will remain hidden for many, many years to come. But I hope the people like the celebrity tournament. They seem to have enjoyed it the last 2 years we had it.
And it's next week now, is that correct?
It starts November 7th, I believe.
Yeah, 6th or 7th.
Because it'll be right after Wheel of Fortune, which is the week of tapings in Seattle. So lots of people will be watching.
Good. And we follow our celebrity tournament with the annual Tournament of Champions, in which you'll get a fairly good contrast, because some folks will come up to me and ask me,
now, is it true you make the material easier for the celebrities?
Just a little, just a little.
Only for Jeff Foxworthy, actually.
Can you spell your name? Yes, I can. You're right. There's $100 for you. And then we follow that up with 2 weeks of competition featuring some of the best players from last year, the Tournament of Champions. And those folks are really sharp, eager to play the game, eager to win, not necessarily eager to win the money, just eager to win the championship.
Oh, we've got somebody backstage who's eager to win right now, too.
Steve Poole?
Uh-huh.
Still ahead, the reason Alex spends a lot of his spare time in some of the world's poorest places.
And up next, KOMO's own Steve Poole is going to be taking on Alex in Jeopardy. He's going around here bragging that he can beat anybody at this game. Well, can he win? Do you think he'll beat you?
He'll clean my clock.
He'll clean his clock. We'll find out next.
Oh, yeah.
This man made a vow to a woman that he'd never stop writing. For more than 20 years, they both kept that vow. Friday, find out what finally happened. And have you ever wanted to write a love letter to a significant other? Maybe you'd like to rekindle the love you and your mate once shared on paper. If so, please call our viewer line at 443-4117 and tell us your story. Alex Trebek is here in a somewhat more relaxed state than we see him, I think, on Jeopardy on the air.
Yeah.
But we thought it might be fun to stage a little game, actually, today. And so we have met the reigning champion of Jeopardy, if you will. Please welcome our challenger for today, direct from the KOMO Weather Center, Mr. Steve Poole.
Now, we want to give you guys...
I see you guys brought in a ringer. He's a lot younger.
But Steve thinks he knows what the categories are.
I've played the game a few times, yes.
All right,
but
I just want to be sure.
in interviews, I am consistent. I always say that I'm not sure I would be a good player because my reflexes are a lot slower than they used to be. So,
well, when it comes to reflexes, all you're going to do is shout out. If you think you know the answer, we're going to ask each of you to shout out. There's no buzzer. No, nothing to push. But the categories aren't what you might think. It is not medieval history, which you might be a pro at, or meteorology.
Doggone.
No, the categories are food, hair care, and the Flintstones. Okay?
okay.
Alex, why don't you choose the first category?
These things are not...
Food for 200.
Food for 200 is government graded AA, A, B, or C. The best is composed of at least 80% fat and 12 to 16% water.
Right.
80%. Did you say 80% fat? The best is 80% fat?
80% fat.
It's at least 80% fat and 12 to...
Steve?
What is beef?
Wrong.
Incorrect.
80%.
You want to have a go at it?
No, the best is composed of 80% fat. You know, a good hamburger.
It's not the best. It's the least.
Alex is close. It's butter. The answer is butter.
Oh, all right.
Those are good questions.
Sounded weird.
Yeah, who's working it?
All right.
Okay,
Steve, pick a category.
We're both wrong.
We're both wrong. So we're still even.
So Steve.
Yes, we are.
All right,
So
I'll take the Flintstones for 100.
Oh, sure.
Okay, it's where Fred took the family in the opening of every show.
What is the drive-in?
He got it.
Are
Yes!
correct.
The only reason he's ahead is because my mouth isn't working. I can't. All right, go again.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, I'll
category,
take the
Steve.
Flintstones for 200.
How did I know
Flintstones.
you'd stay with that?
For 200, Fred and Barney were lodge members of the Loyal Order of what?
Dinosaurs? What are dinosaurs?
No.
No?
What are mooses?
The Loyal
Mises?
Order of
Mice?
Water Buffalo.
What is the
buffaloes.
Loyal Order
Hey.
of Water Buffaloes?
All right.
Alex, pick a category.
Why? I haven't gotten anything. I haven't gotten anything right so far. Why should this be different? Let's go for hair care. 200.
Hair care item that is mentioned in Bill Bailey. Oh, shush,
Nothing but a
audience.
fine tooth. What is a fine tooth comb?
Alex has got it.
Correct for 200.
The only reason why I didn't know that is because what would I know about a fine-tooth comb?
You know what, Steve? And look what he was wearing before.
Steve, one
I've got
final
the same
question.
problem. Only mine's gray.
But yours looks great.
Steve, hair care or food? One final question.
All right, hair care for 200.
Hair care for 100. We've
Oh, you
had
got
the
the
$200
200?
question.
Okay, why not?
As a dessert, it can add weight to your body. As a styling product, it can add body to your hair.
What is mousse?
Oh.
Yes.
The new winner, the
Now,
new champ.
can I go to Rob in the booth? I think I'm hearing that it's a tie. Rob, can you tell us what the answer is there?
Dead heat.
A dead heat.
That's a
Wait
good
a
thing.
minute.
We
is
have
he
no
saying
prizes.
dead
All right.
You know, the amazing thing is, this is the second appearance for Steve Poole in recent history on a game show. Just recently, he had a little shot at the Wheel of Fortune. Take a look at that.
Oh boy, that's good.
Things got off to a good start.
And you got $400 there.
How's Steve doing?
Oh, shut up. Oh, man.
Then it got better.
All right, 500. Give me an O, or I'd like to buy a
Oh my gosh. You see, what happens when you
I
call
can't
the foul
believe
after
this.
you spin is you lose your turn.
Messed up on the rule.
Yeah, you know.
How did you mess up on the rules on the Wheel of Fortune?
I mean, those things are complicated. You folks have to realize when you're sitting at home and you're playing at home, first of all, it's always your turn. And if you miss one, you don't care. You know, it's not a big deal. But when you're out there, it may not be your turn. And when it is your turn, there's this little matter called stress, you know, and that tends to make you forget things.
Have you
So-
ever played on the Wheel of Fortune?
No,
No?
Did you ever host it?
I did for a week many years ago when Chuck Woolery was the regular host.
Oh, yes.
He was away for a week. He was ill, and I stepped in and hosted, and it was a lot of fun.
Was that pre-Vanna as well?
No, I believe Vanna was doing it at
Was
that
she?
time. Yeah. And it was enjoyable for me. I love doing other shows. There was a time early in my career when I competed on other game shows, trying to raise money for charity and things like that. And I did well, and I was very competitive, like you, Steve. If I didn't win, I was ticked. And I took great pride in performing well. In fact, I was one of the celebrities on Hollywood Squares once, and I challenged Peter Marshall. I said, that response is wrong.
You said this on the air?
Yeah. I said, that's not right, guys. And during the commercial break, they checked it, and they came back and they said, hey, and this is long before I did Jeopardy.
And you were right.
And they said, we went to our encyclopedias, and the response Alex gave was correct, so we're going to bring that contestant back and give him another shot.
Oh,
so
my
the player was very happy about that.
We have a phone call for Alex Trebek. Go ahead, you're on the air.
Hi, my name's Lori, and I just wanted to tell you my one-year-old son will drop anything he's doing when your show comes on to come watch you.
Well, thank you, Lori, and that is so common. I have so many pictures of infants who are watching the program and have been taped watching the program. They get off on the colors and the music. I also have...
That's what Steve Poole likes about the show.
Definitely. Steve sits there and goes... Dun, 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 dun. But I have a lot of still photos of animals, dogs, sitting in front of the set. cat sitting in front of the set, a parrot sitting on top of the set looking at Jeopardy upside down. If you've got an animal, he's a Jeopardy fan.
Steve, thank you so much for dropping by and being a good sport on the game.
And thank you.
Champ.
A tie with Alex Trebek.
It wasn't a tie.
Nice to know you really
it wasn't
know
a
your
tie.
Flintstones.
You beat me fair and square.
We'll take a short break. Now, he may be a rather new dad himself, but why does Alex spend so much time with other people's children? We're going to find out when we come back.
I will make one comment about my involvement with World Vision, just because of what I've seen now. And all of my trips for World Vision were made basically before I had a family of my own. One of them, I believe, came after Matthew was born. And I'm not sure that now, having the 2 children of my own, I could go to these countries and see these situations as dispassionately as I was able to do at that time. Because I watch television now, and there are scenes with parents and their children, and I get weepy. And it's one thing being a parent has taught me is fear. You worry about, are my kids going to be safe? Are they going to be healthy? Are they going to grow up okay? Are they going to get shot going to school in Los Angeles? All of those things, it just scares me to death.
But you were stepped removed as a person without children before.
Yeah, you have to be in a situation like that because you are constantly confronted with terrible situations, terrible conditions. The very first trip I made was to Thailand, to Bangkok, and we went into a slum area, and the first thing that assaulted me was the smell. There was no sewage, sewer system, so all the sewage was around the houses, if you want to call them that. So the odors get to you, and then you see the emaciated bodies. In Ethiopia, we were distributing food one day, and one woman was not eligible for that food distribution. She was standing outside of the compound, and she, in tears in her eyes, tried to give me her infant, give me the baby. And in Bangladesh, the kids have a rough time because they're not accepted in society if they have any physical ailments and things like that. We had a blind boy. And yet there are good sides to everything because there are success stories. A friend of mine years ago said, "Why are you trying to raise money for those starving kids in Ethiopia? They are so brain damaged because of starvation that there's really no hope for them." And I went back to Ethiopia a few years later, talked to one of the organizers, and he told me that 2 of the kids who were near death, they didn't think these 2 children would survive, were now 7 or 8 years old and were first in their class. So the brain dead argument didn't make it.
These children all around the world are the reason, actually, that you've come to Seattle today, isn't it?
Well, yes. World Vision has moved its headquarters from Monrovia, California, to the Seattle area, out at Federal Way. They have constructed a new facility there so that everyone is under one roof. It is more advantageous for them financially. They're going to save money, and the $5 or $6 million a year that they are going to save by being here in Washington State instead of California, they will be able to use those funds to help another 100,000 children around the world. Now they do more than just child sponsorship, as you guys know. They are involved in development, they are involved in relief operations.
But because you have done that very part of it yourself, the child sponsorship, explain how someone watching us today could do that too. How do you sponsor a child?
It's very easy. You contact World Vision. I did my work through World Vision. There are other agencies out there doing good work as well. But by contributing $21 a month, you get to have a contact with a child in a foreign land. They send you pictures, they send you reports, school reports. I've had 2 sponsored children over the years, a little boy now in Bangladesh, and I keep getting the photos, and he's getting older. The first child I sponsored got old enough to get out of the program. Became
But does
a teenager.
he know you? Do you write to him?
He does. Yeah, well, I exchanged Christmas cards and things like that. And now that I have the 2 children, I will probably become even more involved in communicating with them. And not only are you doing something good for the child, but you're doing something good for yourself, because it's an amazing thing that I've discovered in life. When you help somebody else, it makes you feel good. The benefits are twofold.
A local woman sent me a copy of a song she had written recently, and the first lyric was, "Share your love with the children of the world." And it sounds like that's what you're doing.
Well, it's just a way of getting involved. I've had friends who say, why don't you do more, why doesn't World Vision do more in the United States? There is suffering here, and they are active in the United States in helping the homeless, helping children here. There are a number of projects in this area, as a matter of fact, but the suffering in the third world is beyond comprehension. You cannot compare it to anything that we see here. As bad as it gets here, it's 20 times worse over there.
We've got to take a quick break, but Alex is one of those proud papas. The minute I said we want to talk about your family, he ran around the corner and got some baby photos, which we're going to show you right after this break, and we'll hear about the soulmate he found when he was 50 years old. We'll be right back. Have you ever cheated on someone you care about? Or what about reading somebody's diary and you know you shouldn't have done it? If you want to confess to Northwest Afternoon and see if what you did was the normal thing to do, call 421-LIVE right after today's show.
5 years ago, the very busy host of Jeopardy found time for romance. He met and married his wife, Jean. 2 children have been the result of that marriage. And we'll take a look at some photographs that Alex just found for us and is willing to share. Let the proud papa talk about. First, his daughter, Emily.
That's Emily coming out of the shower. A little under 2 years of age. And then last year, like so many proud parents, we took both children out and had them photographed so that we could put them on a Christmas card. We weren't able to come up with anything that was remotely good, but I had this candid photo of the 2 of them, and that's the one we used on our Christmas cards.
You say you actually helped deliver both the kids yourself?
Yeah. With Maddie, I told my wife's doctor that I wanted to be involved in the delivery. I like being a hands-on kind of guy. And he wasn't too, he wasn't too happy about that, but when the time came, he said, all right, and as I told the audience here, I wear a size 8 rubber glove, and I was there, and he got Maddie's head out, and then he told me what to do. He says, all right, come in here now.
How old is Matthew now?
Maddie's
This is
4.
Matthew as a baby right there.
Yeah, Maddie's 4.5, and that was one of the first programs I did after Maddie was born for World Vision, and tying it in with my experiences having Maddie and going out on the road for World Vision around the world. Maddie came out looking like a football. He was all kind of bent down, his head was long. You know what they do in the hospital? They have a service that takes pictures of your baby shortly after birth. And about 3 weeks after Maddie was born, they sent us a series of photographs, and I said, oh my God, they've got the wrong baby. This wasn't our son. This was maybe the ugliest child I have ever seen in my life. I know babies are supposed to be beautiful, but this was an ugly kid. And I said, no, it wasn't. Oh, no. It was not Maddie. I said, you guys made a mistake. I said, we paid you the money. You better do something about this. So it took them about a week and a half. They apologized. It took them about a week and a half to find the pictures of Matthew. And they sent us the photos we were supposed to get. Wow. I looked at those and I said, give me the other kid. He was better looking than Maddie.
Ellen in our audience has a question for you. Hi, Ellen. Did you have a question for Alex, Ellen?
Ellen, go ahead.
I wanted to ask Alec how the children have changed his life and how old they are now.
Well, Maddie's 4.5. Emily is 2. Her nickname is the Queen. She likes to do everything herself. She's very bossy. Maddie did not go through the terrible 2s. Emily is going through the terrible 2s. They have changed my life, as I indicated a while ago, in that they have brought fear into my life, but they brought so much joy as well. When Emily runs up and hugs me, and she has just this week learned to say, I love you, Dada, and also, I don't know. So she's learned to say 2 very important things.
Were you fearful, speaking of fear in your life, fearful of becoming a confirmed bachelor until you met Jean?
Well, I had been married before, and I was going through a dating period and dating women my own age, and I was not interested in dating anybody who was younger than I was. And I had met Jean before because she was working with a buddy of mine, and I had thought that she was a very lovely girl, very sweet, attractive.
Did your mom want you to get married, do you think?
I think so. I think so.
But Gene was, what, some 24 years your junior, right?
Yes, and still is, by the way.
Imagine that.
It's amazing math, you know, it follows the straight and narrow. I keep trying to lie about my age, but yeah, Gene is still much younger than I am. And what is worrying me is that you got a little sense of the kind of person I am when I walked out with this fright wig on, right? I like to kid around a lot. I like to, you know, fool around with people, and I have a lot of stupid expressions that I just make up. They're words that I create, and what worries me now is hearing those expressions come back to me when Gene says them. There's an old story about Mark Twain. He got married, and he was like me. He had a pretty salty way of speaking, a lot of vulgarity, a lot of swear words, and he was trying to put a shirt on one day in his bedroom, and they had studs in those days, and he was having trouble, and he started to swear. And his wife, who was very prim and proper, came into the room and repeated all of his swear words back to him in correct English. And he said, that shook me so badly that it cooled me off for about a month and a half. And now I hear these things coming back from Gene and from the kids.
Uh-oh.
So Maddie is saying them, and now it's gotten so bad that I have to pay Maddie 25 cents every time I swear.
As it should be.
So he's buying a new car next week.
Thanks for sharing the photographs of your family. Each time after Alex is here, I find that I watch Jeopardy with a whole new appreciation.
Oh,
nice
it's
to have you
wonderful
back in
having you
Seattle.
here.
It's fun to be back
Congratulations on
here.
what you do with World Vision.
Okay.
We'll be back after this.
Hi, everyone. I'm Preston Phillips from KOMO News. Thanks for checking out the KOMO YouTube channel. You can see more of our videos right here by clicking on the video links for more news from the Seattle area and Western Washington. Oh, and don't forget to click the subscribe button below so you don't miss our YouTube updates.